hope that you're doing well. Welcome to today's video, and I've got another book review for you. So today I am going to be reviewing The Goddess book, which is by Nancy Blair, and it says it's a celebration of witches, queens, healers and crones, and the illustrations throughout the book are by Thalia Took. Just to be transparent, this book was sent to me by Weiser Books as a gift. I did do a little poll on my Instagram to see if people would like a review of this book, and obviously they said yes, so here we are. So good news for you guys is that this book is already out, it's already been released, so it is available to buy now. So let's get on with the review. I didn't actually know very much about the author before I got this book, but from what I've now learned, she sounds amazing, and I definitely intend to read a lot more of her work. So as well as being an author, Nancy Blair is an artist, a teacher and an environmental activist. Her other works include Goddess Days, Goddesses for Every Season and Amulets of the Goddess, which is a divination oracle set that comes with a guidebook. So as you can probably tell, there is definitely a theme to her work. She has also written her memoir with the amazing title, "Thank You, Your Opinion Means Nothing to Me." It's described as hilarious, poignant and wickedly delicious, and I'm totally intrigued by that. Which is saying something because I don't usually read a lot of memoirs or biographies, but the title alone just makes me want to check it out. As I mentioned, she's also an artist and has a master's degree in fine arts. Nancy's art has been commissioned by museums as well as being in private collections. I'll make sure I'll put all of her links below, so if any of that sounds interesting to you, you can check those out. Onto the illustrator then. Thalia Took is obviously an artist, and what I discovered was that in her own words she is obsessed with painting goddesses, and her goal is to paint or write about every single goddess ever, and it seems that she is definitely on a mission to do this because on her website there are a lot of goddesses and she even has an obscure goddess directory. One of my favourite things that I did come across were some mini stories that she's written for some goddesses. They've got a very poetic vibe and I just really enjoyed reading them. Thalia should definitely think about publishing her own goddess book and getting the oracle deck published that's on her website. Again, I'll put all of Thalia's links below if you want to check out or support her work. A little bit about the book itself then. So it features 52 goddesses and they are organised into 4 different sections, with each section representing a different season. And then each season features goddesses that are most attuned to that particular time of year. For each of the goddesses within the book then, there's a little bit of information about them, a ritual, an affirmation, and not forgetting a beautiful illustration by Thalia in there. I'll just see if I can find a quick example. So we've got beautiful illustrations, a little bit of information about the goddess, and then on the next couple of pages there's the rituals and meditations. Okay, so honestly there's not really much more to it than that. It is very simple, but that's actually what I really loved about it. So now let's move on to some of my thoughts about the book. I would describe this book as simple but beautifully effective. I really liked how it was organised with nature in mind. It really appealed to my Wiccan sensibilities, reflecting the idea of a cycle, a life cycle, and the wheel of the year. So starting with the roots of spring, the blossoms of summer, moving through to the harvest of autumn, and then the winter seeds for new growth. There's also a little short poem at the start of each seasonal section that represents the themes of that time of year, which I thought was just a really nice touch. The goddesses that are featured in the book are from a wide range of different countries, cultures, traditions and pantheons, and I really did enjoy learning about them, and it's nice to explore different cultures and traditions that those goddesses come from. Personally, I feel like it wouldn't really be appropriate for me to incorporate some of the goddesses into my own practice. For example, goddesses are figures from African and Asian traditions, just because they're not part of my personal history or my heritage. I do have more of a connection with European deities, and I do tend to favour the Greek and Roman pantheons. I don't want to go too far into my own beliefs and goddess work, but when I first started practicing Wicca and witchcraft, I probably wouldn't have considered getting this book. I really didn't vibe with the idea of using gods and goddesses in my practice. It was mainly because when I was younger, I was brought up with the idea of a Christian god, and that tradition and idea of a god just didn't really vibe with me. I think it just wasn't something that I really believed in from quite a young age. So to me, that was all I really knew about gods and goddesses. But then I did do a little bit more reading on the topic, and I was learning not just from books but from other people in the community, and I realised that there's actually more than one way to acknowledge gods and goddesses in your practice. To me now, goddesses in particular are representations of things and energies in the world and the universe. I'm going to share a few things from the book then that link to my personal craft, but obviously different goddesses might resonate with you. Firstly, I want to have a look at the triple goddess. So this was actually my first foray into goddesses because it does link heavily to my Wiccan beliefs. So in the book it does have a very sort of simple explanation, but it is a nice introduction to the meaning of the triple goddess. It explores the triple goddess as the maiden, the mother and the crone, and it links her to the cycles of the moon, so representing the waxing, the full and the waning moon phases. I will say that I didn't really like the ritual that went with this goddess. It does mention doing a menstrual ritual, and I didn't like this for a number of reasons. One, because to me this goddess and the maiden, the mother and the crone aspects that make her are about so much more than the ability to procreate. And secondly, as with all goddesses and the divine feminine, personally I don't believe that they are a gendered entity. Although we may refer to them as female, the qualities and the energies that they possess and that they represent can just as much be applied to men, to women, to trans men, trans women, non-binary, or however you choose to identify. We all exhibit masculine and feminine traits to varying degrees, and our womanhood doesn't come from our ability to menstruate. I just thought that that was worth pointing out. So even though it is just a very teeny small section of the book, literally just a sentence, for a lot of people I think it's worth knowing in advance. After the triple goddess then, I have to mention Demeter and her daughter Persephone. So although Persephone doesn't have her own section, she is mentioned in the information about Demeter. Again, these are goddesses that I work with because I just really love the myths that are surrounding them, and their links to the triple goddess. If you didn't know, then Persephone is actually known as the maiden, Demeter, her mother, is known as the mother, and then Hecate, who I will mention next, is known as the crone. So Demeter is placed in the autumn section, and it does just seem really fitting for her. If you know the myths, then you will understand why. The author talks about harvest and food in the rituals to Demeter, and I just think that it is a really lovely little section. Okay, lastly, I just wanted to do a quick mention of my main goddess, which is Hecate. Again, it's just a really lovely section that explores Hecate's wisdom and her role as guardian of the crossroads. I have mentioned there just 3 goddesses out of 52 that are covered in the book, and just because they are the ones that I already knew about and that I love, but there are so many more to learn about and to discover. Obviously, I can't talk about the book without mentioning the illustrations. I have shown you a few of them so far, but I'll just find a few more that I just really loved. I will put a few on the screen as well, just so you can get a better view of them. They are just really beautiful and a unique style, and I just love the vibrancy of the colours. It's really interesting because you can tell that each image is done in Thalia's style, so there is a consistency there, but each goddess is still completely unique in their depiction. I always like to try and do a balanced review when I do my book reviews, but I don't really have any criticisms at this point. It's just more of one constructive idea, I suppose. So in the preface to the book, the author mentions wanting to create a portable goddess meditation book, and I definitely agree. It's just one of those books that you want to put in your bag, carry around with you, and just open up and have a look at when you've got a few moments to just sit and reflect during the day. But I do think they could have played on that portable aspect a little bit more. So, I mean, the book is smallish, but it could have been a little bit smaller. You may have noticed that there is a lot of white space around the text and the images. If the book was just maybe a little bit bigger than the images themselves, then it would have made it even more portable. I'm not sure really why they chose to have so much sort of white space around the edges and things. I suppose it maybe was just a personal preference of whoever was designing the book or whatever, but I do think that the space could have been used a little bit better and just made the book a little bit smaller. Final thoughts then. So I would definitely recommend this book to anyone that is interested in including goddesses in their Wiccan and witchcraft practice, anyone that wants to connect with the divine feminine, or just anyone who wants to learn more about a wide range of different goddesses. It is a really nice and light introduction, and you won't find it overwhelming. I think I will probably return to this book on a regular basis, and it's not something that you need to read from cover to cover. You can dip in and out of it when you feel the need to. It might also be interesting to do a little bit of divination or bibliomancy with the book. So by that I just mean it's the practice of getting your book, closing your eyes and just flicking through the pages until you feel like you should stop, and then turning to a random page and just exploring the wisdom of that particular goddess. I just feel like this would be a really nice practice if you're looking for a little bit of guidance or some reflection time. Right, I think that's everything that I wanted to say about this book. I hope that you found this review useful. Please comment any questions or thoughts about the book below. I'd love to know about your personal experiences with goddesses in your practice, whether you choose to use them or not. If you already have this book, what do you think about it? And if you don't have the book and you want to buy it, then I will put the link below. Okay, thank you very much for watching guys, and I will see you in the next video.